God wants to hear you. Come, come.
Lord, I come to you just as I am, not strong, not polished, not pretending to understand everything that is happening around me, because my heart knows you can do all things even when my soul feels tired of carrying questions that have no answers yet. And today I do not ask you to hurry. I ask you to meet me here, in this quiet space where faith and weakness sit side by side, where I believe in your power but still struggle with patience, where I trust your promises but wrestle with the silence between them. And as I breathe in your presence, I gently invite you to step closer to my restless thoughts, to calm the part of me that keeps looking at the clock instead of looking at you, to teach my heart that waiting is not abandonment, but formation, not punishment, but preparation, because I know you are working even when nothing seems to move, shaping something deeper than answers, something stronger than relief, something eternal inside me while I learn to remain here with you without fear. Father, as I remain here with you, I begin to notice how quickly my heart confuses waiting with loss, how easily my mind assumes that silence means distance. Yet I know this is not who you are, because every page of my life carries quiet evidence that you arrive on time. Never rushed, never late, always precise. And still my emotions tremble when answers delay, when doors remain closed longer than I expected, when strength fades before breakthrough appears. So I come honestly again, not to demand explanations, but to stay present, to let this moment become sacred instead of stressful. And in this stillness, I softly invite you to hold my anxious thoughts with your steady hands, to remind me that growth often happens underground, where nothing is visible, yet everything is changing, teaching me that trust is not proven by speed, but by endurance, by choosing to remain with you even when progress feels slow, knowing that you are shaping patience into my faith like a quiet anchor that keeps my soul from drifting away. Lord, as this waiting stretches my inner world, I begin to see how much of my faith has depended on outcomes instead of intimacy, how often I have measured your goodness by movement rather than presence. Yet here you are, steady and near, teaching me that waiting is not empty space but holy ground, a place where my impatience is exposed and gently healed, where my need for control loosens its grip, and I realize that you are more interested in who I am becoming than in how fast my situation changes. So I slow my breathing and allow this moment to shape me, and I quietly invite you to reframe my expectations, to teach my heart to recognize progress even when it feels invisible, to trust that unseen roots are growing deeper than any surface miracle, because I am learning that your timing is not designed to frustrate me, but to fortify me, building a faith that can stand long after answers arrive. Father, the longer I stay here with you, the more I realize how deeply my heart fears uncertainty, how much I crave clarity before obedience. Yet you continue to invite me into trust without guarantees, into surrender without timelines, reminding me that faith was never meant to be comfortable but to be real, lived out in moments like this where I do not see the full picture but still choose to remain. And as I sit with this truth, I gently invite you to soften the part of me that resists the unknown, to teach me that waiting is not wasted time but sacred shaping, that every unanswered prayer is still being held within your wisdom. And even when my emotions fluctuate, you remain constant, steady, faithful, quietly forming endurance within me, so that when the answer comes, I will be able to carry it with humility, gratitude, and deeper dependence on you, rather than on my own understanding. Lord, in this space where nothing seems to change outwardly, I begin to notice how much is shifting within me, how my reactions soften, how my need to rush. You slowly loosens, and I see that waiting has been revealing my attachments more than my prayers ever did, showing me where I place my security, my urgency, my hope, and instead of turning away in frustration, I choose to remain, to let this process do its quiet work. And here I tenderly invite you to examine my heart with kindness, to gently untangle impatience from expectation, to teach me how to trust you, not only when you act, but when you are still, because I am learning that your presence is not measured by movement, and that even in delays you are preparing my spirit to receive what I once asked for without being crushed by its weight, shaping me into someone who can wait without fear and hope without demand. Father, as I continue to rest in this unfolding stillness, I notice how my heart slowly learns a new language, one that does not panic at pauses or despair at unanswered questions, a language shaped by trust rather than urgency. And I realize that waiting with you is different from waiting alone, because here I am, not abandoned to my thoughts, but held within your steady attention. So I remain present instead of escaping into worry. And in this gentle moment, I humbly invite you to retrain my instincts, to teach me how to respond with faith when impatience rises, to replace anxious anticipation with quiet confidence, reminding me that you see the full story while I only see fragments, and that every delay carries intention, every pause holds protection. Every moment of waiting is forming a resilience in my spirit that will outlast temporary relief and anchor my soul in lasting peace. Lord, as this time with you deepens, I begin to recognize how often I have mistaken urgency for faith, believing that intensity could replace trust. Yet you patiently show me that true faith knows how to breathe, how to stay, how to remain anchored when nothing feels urgent except my emotions. And instead of correcting me harshly, you guide me gently, allowing me to see myself without shame. And here I softly invite you to quiet the inner noise that demands immediate resolution, to help me release the pressure I place on myself and on you, teaching me that waiting does not weaken my faith but refines it, stretching my capacity to trust beyond comfort, beyond timelines, beyond visible progress, until my heart learns that peace is not found in answers arriving quickly, but in knowing I am held securely by you while I wait. Father, in the quiet continuity of this prayer, I begin to sense how waiting is slowly rearranging my priorities, how the things I once demanded urgently now feel less powerful than the peace of being near you. And I notice that my soul is learning to rest without conditions, to trust without constant reassurance, to remain without bargaining. And as this awareness settles, I gently invite you to anchor my heart deeper in your presence, to help me stop interpreting delay as denial, to remind me that your love is not proven by speed but by faithfulness. Because even now, while nothing has visibly shifted, you are steadying my emotions, strengthening my endurance, and teaching me that the safest place to be is not at the finish line, but in step with you, learning patience, not as resignation, but as quiet confidence in your perfect care. Lord, as I remain here longer than my instincts would normally allow, I begin to feel the resistance inside me soften, because waiting has a way of exposing everything I try to hide from myself, my fear of losing control, my discomfort with uncertainty, my habit of measuring your faithfulness by how quickly circumstances change. And yet you do not withdraw when these truths surface. You stay, patient and steady, allowing me to see that this season is not about withholding answers, but about reshaping my inner posture, teaching me that trust grows slowly, like roots forming in darkness before any sign of life appears above the soil. And in this extended stillness, I gently invite you to stretch my capacity to remain present without panic, to help me stay anchored when emotions rise and questions multiply, to teach my heart that waiting with you is an active surrender, a quiet agreement to believe that you are doing more than I can perceive, forming depth where I once asked only for speed, and preparing me to carry future blessings with humility, stability, and a faith that no longer collapses when answers take time. Father, as this time of waiting continues to unfold, I notice how my soul begins to settle into a slower rhythm, one that no longer demands immediate proof of your work, but learns to recognize your presence in the unseen movements of the heart. And I realize how much of my past anxiety came from trying to rush outcomes that required maturity, strength, and readiness I did not yet possess. And still, you were kind enough to protect me from answers that would have arrived too early. So I stay here, breathing deeper, listening more carefully, allowing this moment to become a place of learning rather than frustration. And in this sacred pause, I quietly invite you to retrain my expectations, to help me trust that your delays are filled with intention and mercy, to remind me that you are shaping my character with the same care you shape my future, teaching me that patience is not passive endurance, but active trust, a daily choice to believe that even now, while nothing appears resolved, you are aligning my heart with your wisdom and preparing me for what will come in your perfect time. Lord, as I stay with you through this lengthened moment of surrender, I become more aware of how waiting gently dismantles the illusion that I must always understand in order to trust, because you are teaching me that clarity often comes after obedience, not before, and that peace is not the result of having answers but of knowing who holds them. So I allow myself to remain here without forcing conclusions, without rehearsing worst-case outcomes, without demanding timelines that only soothe my anxiety for a moment. And within this honest stillness, I tenderly invite you to teach my heart how to lean into uncertainty without fear, to help me recognize that your silence is not absence, but depth, a quiet space where my faith is stretched beyond convenience and trained to rest in truth. Because even now you are weaving patience into my spirit, strengthening trust where impatience once lived, and forming a faith that does not collapse under delay but grows steadier, deeper, and more resilient as I learn to wait with you rather than rush ahead of you. Father, as this prayer continues to breathe slowly between my thoughts, I begin to notice how waiting with you exposes the places where I once relied on my own strength more than I realized, how often I tried to be resilient without being surrendered, strong without being dependent. And now you are gently teaching me that true strength is found in staying close rather than standing tall alone. So I allow this moment to stretch without resistance, to linger without fear of being unproductive, understanding that intimacy with you is never wasted time. And here, in this unhurried space, I softly invite you to realign my confidence, to move it away from outcomes and place it firmly in your character, reminding me that you do not rush because you do not panic. You do not hurry because you see the end from the beginning. And as I learn to mirror that calm, you are forming within me a faith that rests even when answers delay, a trust that holds steady even when circumstances remain unchanged, and a heart that slowly learns that waiting in your presence is itself a gift, shaping me into someone who walks with you patiently, humbly, and without fear. Lord, as I remain here without rushing to the next moment, I begin to understand that waiting has been less about time and more about trust, less about delay and more about dependence, because every pause gently reveals where my heart still tries to take control, where I still believe that movement equals safety, yet you patiently show me that safety is found in staying near you, not in forcing outcomes. And as this realization settles, I allow my thoughts to slow, my expectations to soften, my breathing to deepen, choosing presence over pressure. And in this extended stillness, I quietly invite you to teach me how to live without demanding constant reassurance, to help me trust that even when nothing changes around me, you are still at work within me, reshaping my desires, refining my patience, and strengthening my faith in ways that quick answers never could. Because I am learning that your timing protects me, your silence matures me, and your nearness sustains me while I wait, forming a heart that no longer fears delay but finds peace in knowing that every moment is held securely in your wise and loving hands. Father, as this season of waiting continues to stretch beyond my comfort, I begin to see how much of my life has been shaped by urgency, by the pressure to resolve, decide, and move forward quickly. And now, you are gently interrupting that pattern, inviting me into a slower, deeper way of living with you, where faith is not proved by speed but by staying, by remaining connected even when progress feels invisible. And instead of resisting this process, I choose to remain open, allowing you to do the quiet work I cannot rush. And in this honest space, I tenderly invite you to heal the places in me that fear stillness, to restore the parts of my heart that associate waiting with loss instead of growth, reminding me that you are not withholding goodness but preparing me to receive it wisely. Because you see what I cannot yet see, you know what I am not yet ready to carry, and through this waiting, you are forming discernment, humility, and endurance within me, shaping a faith that will not crumble under blessing or collapse under delay, but will walk steadily with you, no matter the pace of the journey. Lord, as I stay present in this unfolding prayer, I begin to recognize how deeply you are rewiring my understanding of strength, teaching me that endurance is not loud, rushed, or dramatic, but quiet, steady, and rooted. And I realize that waiting with you has been slowly teaching my soul to breathe again, to release the tension of needing everything resolved, to trust that my life is not suspended but guided, even when progress feels hidden. And instead of filling the silence with worry, I choose to let it become a place of communion, where your nearness speaks louder than answers ever could. And in this sacred calm, I gently invite you to deepen my awareness of your presence, to help me discern your work beyond visible signs, to remind me that you are shaping my inner world with intention and care, forming patience that will sustain me long after this season ends, because I am learning that faith is not proven by how quickly you respond, but by how faithfully I remain, choosing to stay connected, hopeful, and surrendered, while you quietly accomplish what only you can do in your perfect and loving time. Father, as this time with you continues to deepen beyond what I expected, I begin to sense how waiting is gently teaching my heart a new kind of honesty, one that no longer hides disappointment behind spiritual language or masks weariness with forced confidence. Because here with you, I do not need to pretend to be stronger than I am. I only need to remain, and I see how this openness creates space for true healing, allowing you to meet me where faith and fatigue overlap. And instead of rushing to fix what feels uncomfortable, I choose to stay present, letting your patience become my teacher. And in this vulnerable stillness, I softly invite you to teach me how to trust you with my unanswered prayers, to help me believe that delays are not signs of neglect, but moments of careful attention, where you are aligning timing, shaping character, and protecting outcomes I cannot yet see, reminding me that nothing surrendered to you is wasted, and that even now, while I wait without clarity, you are actively forming a faith that can endure uncertainty without losing hope, rest without losing expectation, and walk forward without fear because it knows you are near. Lord, as I remain here in this steady rhythm of prayer, I begin to notice how waiting with you slowly rewrites my inner dialogue, replacing self-criticism with compassion, urgency with awareness, fear with a quieter kind of trust. And I realized that much of my struggle was not with time itself, but with the belief that I had to earn your care through constant effort. Yet you are showing me that your love is not activated by my performance, but sustained by your faithfulness. So I allow this truth to settle deeply, letting go of the need to prove anything, to hurry anything, to control anything. And in this gentle release, I tenderly invite you to teach my heart how to rest without guilt, to help me understand that waiting does not mean I am falling behind, but that I am being held, guided, and protected. Because even in moments where nothing seems to advance, you are aligning paths, softening outcomes, and preparing my spirit to receive what is coming with wisdom and humility, forming within me a faith that no longer fears pauses, but recognizes them as sacred spaces where you work most quietly and most deeply. Father, as this prayer carries on without rushing toward resolution, I begin to sense how waiting in your presence is slowly healing parts of me I did not know were wounded, places shaped by disappointment, unmet expectations, and the quiet fear that if things do not change soon, I might lose my footing. Yet here with you, I am learning that stability does not come from circumstances improving, but from connection deepening, from choosing to remain anchored even when outcomes are unclear. And instead of fighting this process, I allow it to unfold, trusting that you are attentive to every moment I spend here. And in this extended stillness, I gently invite you to strengthen my inner resolve, to teach me how to trust your heart when I cannot trace your hand, to remind me that you are never inactive, even in silence, even in delay, because while I wait, you are aligning timing, protecting paths, and preparing me to step forward with a steadiness I did not have before, shaping a faith that does not demand immediate answers, but rests confidently in knowing that my life is safely held within your perfect wisdom and unfailing care. Lord, as I stay with you through this unbroken flow of waiting, I begin to realize that patience is not something I achieve by effort, but something you grow within me by presence, because every moment I choose to remain instead of retreat, to trust instead of assume the worst. You are gently reshaping my inner landscape, removing the sharp edges of anxiety and replacing them with steadiness. And I notice how my heart no longer races as it once did, how fear loses its urgency when I stop feeding it with imagined endings. And in this widening calm, I quietly invite you to teach me how to live fully even before answers arrive, to help me see that life is not paused while I wait but unfolding under your careful guidance, because you are not only preparing what is ahead, you are preparing me, aligning my desires, strengthening my discernment and anchoring my hope so deeply in you that no delay can uproot it, forming a faith that learns to trust not because circumstances have changed, but because you remain faithful, present and sovereign over every moment of my life. Father, as this time of waiting stretches further than I imagined, I begin to understand that you are not only teaching me patience, but reshaping the way I see my own life, showing me that I am not behind, forgotten, or stalled, but intentionally placed in a season where roots grow deeper than visibility allows, and I sense how much pressure I once carried to arrive, to prove, to resolve everything quickly. Yet here with you that pressure slowly dissolves, replaced by a steadier confidence that my story is not slipping out of your hands. And instead of measuring my days by progress, I begin to measure them by presence, learning to value closeness over completion. And in this extended awareness, I gently invite you to help me release the fear of wasted time, to teach me that nothing lived with you is ever empty or delayed, because even now you are ordering steps, aligning encounters, softening outcomes, and preparing moments I cannot yet see, forming within me a faith that learns to trust the unseen work of your timing, to walk forward without panic, and to rest in the assurance that every chapter of my life unfolds under your careful attention and loving purpose. Lord, as I continue to dwell in this patient space with you, I start to recognize how waiting is gently teaching my heart to listen rather than react, to discern rather than demand. Because so much of my past unrest came from trying to outrun emotions instead of understanding them in your presence. And here you are allowing time to slow my responses, to soften my judgments, to steady my expectations, reminding me that maturity is formed in moments like these where nothing is rushed, yet everything is refined. And as this awareness settles, I quietly invite you to guard my thoughts from spiraling into fear, to help me stay attentive to what you are doing within me, instead of fixating on what has not yet changed around me. Because you are teaching me that peace grows when trust is practiced daily, not when circumstances suddenly improve, shaping a faith that learns to remain composed, hopeful, and anchored, confident that even in extended waiting, you are intentionally present, carefully guiding my steps, and patiently forming a heart that can walk forward with clarity, humility, and unwavering trust in your perfect time. Father, as this prayer moves forward without breaking its rhythm, I become increasingly aware that waiting with you is slowly reshaping my identity, teaching me that I am not defined by how quickly I arrive at answers, but by how faithfully I remain connected to you along the way. And I notice how this season is loosening old patterns of comparison, self-pressure, and hidden fear, replacing them with a quieter confidence that my journey does not need to mirror anyone else's pace, because you are attentive to my steps, not the noise around me. And instead of striving to keep up, I choose to stay aligned, allowing your wisdom to set the rhythm of my life. And in this deepening awareness, I gently invite you to free my heart from the anxiety of timelines, to help me trust that your work in me is intentional and personal, not rushed or careless. Because even when I feel unseen or unchanged, you are carefully shaping my character, strengthening my discernment, and building endurance that will carry me far beyond this moment, forming a faith that no longer panics at delay, but rests in the assurance that every season, even this one, is held securely within your loving and purposeful design. Lord, as I stay present within this continuing flow of trust, I begin to feel how waiting with you is slowly teaching my heart a deeper kind of courage. Not the courage to act quickly or to force change, but the courage to remain open, hopeful, and surrendered when answers delay and outcomes remain unclear. And I realize that this kind of courage is quieter yet stronger, because it does not depend on certainty, but on relationship. And here, you are strengthening that bond moment by moment, allowing me to experience that I am not carried by timelines, but by your faithfulness. So I choose to remain attentive instead of distracted, grounded instead of restless. And in this calm persistence, I gently invite you to continue shaping my inner resilience, to help me trust that nothing in my life is drifting off course, that every pause is purposeful, every delay measured, every moment accounted for within your wisdom, because you are not only guiding my steps forward but steadying my heart along the way, forming a faith that can walk patiently through uncertainty without losing hope, without hardening, and without forgetting that you are always near, always aware, and always working in your perfect and loving time. Father, as this prayer nears deeper waters of trust, I begin to sense how waiting has been gently training my heart to let go of the need to be in control, revealing how much peace I once postponed, believing it could only come after answers arrived. Yet you are showing me that peace is not a reward at the end of the process, but a companion along the way, available even now if I choose to receive it. And instead of bracing myself against uncertainty, I slowly learn to rest within it, knowing you are present here as fully as you are at the moment of fulfillment. And in this settled awareness, I softly invite you to teach me how to carry hope without pressure, expectation without anxiety, faith without forcing outcomes, because you are forming in me a steadiness that does not depend on external movement, but on internal alignment with your will, shaping a heart that trusts you, not only for what you will do, but for who you are, confident that every step, every pause, and every unanswered question is held within your perfect wisdom and loving care as I continue learning to wait in your time. Lord, as I continue to sit with you in this steady unfolding of trust, I begin to recognize how waiting has been slowly untangling my heart from the belief that my worth is tied to progress, results, or visible success. And I see how often I pressured myself to move faster out of fear of falling behind. Yet here in your presence, that fear loses its grip, replaced by the quiet assurance that I am seen, known, and held exactly where I am, not because I have arrived, but because I belong to you. And instead of rushing forward to prove something, I choose to remain attentive to what you are doing within me. And in this unhurried moment, I gently invite you to restore my sense of identity, to remind me that I am not defined by waiting seasons, but shaped by them. Because even when nothing outward changes, you are strengthening my inner foundation, deepening humility, clarifying purpose, and forming a patience that protects my heart from becoming hard or bitter, teaching me that waiting with you is not a pause in living, but a vital chapter where trust is purified, hope is stabilized, and faith learns to stand without leaning on immediate outcomes. Father, as this time of prayer continues to stretch beyond what my natural patience would choose, I begin to understand that waiting with you has been gently restoring my ability to hope without desperation, to believe without demanding proof, to trust without constantly checking the horizon for signs of change. And I notice how my heart is learning to stay open instead of guarded, receptive instead of tense, because here in your presence I am safe even without answers. And instead of filling the silence with assumptions, I allow it to become a place of listening, where my soul learns to recognize your care in subtler ways. And in this calm attentiveness, I quietly invite you to guard my heart against discouragement, to protect me from interpreting slow seasons as failure or rejection, reminding me that you often do your deepest work in hidden places, shaping endurance, wisdom, and compassion that cannot be rushed. Because you are forming in me a faith that does not collapse when outcomes delay, a hope that does not fade when timelines stretch, and a trust that grows stronger precisely because it has learned to remain steady, attentive, and anchored in you while waiting in your perfect time. Lord, as I stay with you through this continued stillness, I begin to realize that waiting has been gently teaching me how to love you without conditions, without deadlines, without quiet ultimatums hidden inside my prayers. Because there was a time when I trusted you mainly for what you would fix, change, or provide. And now you are teaching my heart to trust you for who you are, even when nothing seems to move, even when prayers feel suspended in the air. And this realization humbles me, slows me, steadies me, allowing me to remain without resentment or fear. And in this deepening awareness, I tenderly invite you to purify my motives, to help me seek your presence more than your answers, to desire closeness more than control, reminding me that true faith is revealed not when miracles arrive, but when devotion remains. Because you are shaping within me a love that is not transactional but relational, a trust that does not fade in silence, and a patience that learns to stay rooted in you, confident that every moment of waiting is drawing me closer to your heart and aligning my life more deeply with your perfect and faithful timing. Lord, as I come to the end of this prayer, I do not come with answers in my hands, but with trust forming quietly in my heart. Because through every moment of waiting, you have taught me that I am never alone, never forgotten, never delayed by mistake. And now I rest in the truth that your timing is not something to fear, but something to lean into. knowing that you see what I cannot see, and you prepare what I am not yet ready to hold. So with a softened spirit, I gently invite you to seal everything you have been shaping within me, to let patience replace anxiety, peace replace urgency, and trust replace fear. And as I rise from this prayer, I receive your blessing over my waiting, over my heart, over my future, believing that your presence goes with me into every quiet day and every uncertain step, covering me with grace, steadying me with hope, and reminding me that all things come in your time, according to your love, and under your faithful care. Amen.
Breathe for a moment. God is here. He wants to hear you. If this touched your heart, subscribe for more.